Hello YouTube and welcome to GrunfWorks Plays KSP. This is episode 95 of the Interplanetary Voyage of Exploration. And in today's episode we will be stripping the components from the Karbonite scanner that we sent to Minmus in the previous episode, and we will be reworking it to be working in the orbit around Duna. So first things first, we need to replace the remote tech antenna to be able to reach Duna, or to reach Kerbin from Duna. Right. Then we have a second order of business, which is we will need to I'm thinking of maybe creating some sort of like Matryoshka style rocket, so just adding a nuclear stage below this guy, and then I hope to wrap it up in the even bigger rocket, hopefully. So let's see how that would fare. I mean, it's not ideal fairing wise and all that jazz, but let's see how we would be able to fit it in, and if we would be able to fit it in. Yeah. I'm trying to find a 5-meter fairing, see if that one would work, or not 5 meter, 2.5 meter fairing, and it's only a little bit too short, sadly. So what about if we put it like this? Hold on, but then I don't need the fairing base here either. So let's just remove that, and rather than that, let's put a nice decoupler or something like that. Let's see, small decoupler, that would work, and a nice adapter plate so it sits kind of cool here. Let me see. Yeah, I think you will define. Yeah, that's something like that. I think looking like that it should be pretty decent, so let's just strut it together. Looks good enough. Yeah, now it looks good enough. Okay, so so the idea would be that we just now put the fairing around this 2.5 meter fairing, and let's not complicate the rocket too much, because after all it's just a small scanner and all I need is enough delta V to get to Duna and get it to actually do some Karbonite scanning there. So the scanner, we already know that it works correctly, so I'm not just designing a launcher that would have the capability to take it as far as orbit here, I guess. Maybe even a tiny nudge further. We'll see depending on what the delta V. As you guys know, I typically like to over-engineer my rockets, but I think it only makes sense because, yeah, you never know, you might get a fuel tank leak or something. And beside these higher thrust rockets, despite the fact they're less effective, they are certainly burning much shorter than the other ones, so yeah. Might not be the most efficient, but then again, I don't really care much about the funds anyway. So, Karbonite scanner Mark II Duna, save, and let's just add that one to the build queue, I would say. I think that's pretty decent, we don't need anything more, just build. As simple as that. Okay, that covers the Karbonite scanner part of our refueling system. So yeah, we have the refueling station being built, and we have the Karbonite scanner now being built. So the final piece of the puzzle, we need to be able to create a fuel tanker. So the idea is that the fuel station that we have created in the previous episode, the core part, that one will be in low Duna orbit as the core station, and to that station, if you notice, it had multiple senior docking ports. On those docking ports I fully intend to dock orange fuel tanks. Obviously the more the merrier. Ideally I was thinking 6, but we will see how does it fare. So the idea is to now at least launch 2 fuel tanks to Duna in the first batch, because that should pack enough delta V for any nuclear power based ships, which our SSTOs from the Duna interplanetary vessel are, to be able to return to basically low carbon orbit and then refuel there as well. So that's the plan, at least, to be able to basically supply enough fuel for the Voyager to come to and from, to taxi the Kerbals around. Anyway, so this is the tug that I'm designing, and the purpose of this tug is to be able to dock the orange fuel tank without the need of me sticking the RCS ports on the fuel tank itself, because, as you know, part count when designing a station always plays a pivotal role. So the less parts, the better. So this is the small fuel tank that will have like girders which will extend to the length of the fuel tank, which would then cage, hopefully, this small fuel tank, and that would give me alone the chance to be able to actually, well, perform some maneuvering, I guess. So I'm putting like the girders. As always, cubic octagonal strut is the master of all construction in KSP. It's basically a known fact, so yeah. 1 I-beam, 2 I-beams, and I was just trying to get them aligned in 3-dimensional space. Looks harder than it actually is. Okay, and now let's just align them downwards so that we cage the tank, and I want to be putting the RCS ports so that this tank with its RCS fuels and these ports are roughly balanced, so it won't be too difficult to just basically move them around a little bit. So yeah, something along those lines, so that it's balanced, that it is a balanced tank. Anyway, so let's call it Fuel Tank Transporter Mark 1. Add a prefix IP, which means interplanetary. So this is the payload that I'm hoping to get there. Then I have a, shall we say, additional component of the tank. Flip it backwards. And then put like a 5-meter fairing around it and hope that that would suffice. Not really. Let's see a bigger 5-meter extended fairing, if that will suffice. So far this is the payload. This is what we want to get to Duna, guys. So hopefully unspent and intact. It's an important thing to think about. Okay, so let's put the 5-meter fairing around it. Seems like it will be working. And then let's see how big of a rocket do we need to build to actually get it there. An SAS. Oh, this is a little bit too big SAS for my taste. Okay, let's see. This one. Maybe yes, maybe no. Let me just see how big of a tank this is. So if we put like this engine, how much delta V do we get? We get, with this tank, we get 3.5, so that's enough to get it to orbit, but we still have to get it to the orbit around Duna. Yeah, I don't know if we'll have actually that big of a tank, so yeah, I decided to actually strip the fairing and to go with a little bit design that I have been using previously. So rather than me just designing a big fairing and huge Delta V rocket, so I will rather put something else instead. So let's put a small decoupler or something like that. Yeah, 2.5 meter stack decoupler, and then I will be actually attaching the adapter, and following the adapter I'm gonna put a big engine. As you can see, 1194. So now I'm trying to just see, okay, with this you get 2.8 thousand, and with this it's 3.295 meters per second, which I think should be more than enough to get us ejected to Duna and safely stopped around Duna, and maybe even do an intersect, hopefully. So this is the Delta V that I'm counting with to get us as far to Duna as possible. And the ship looks pretty nice. I'm so far happy about it. So, having said that, let us now see how we can get this guy to orbit. Because this is what it's going to do now, so we still have to figure out how to get it to orbit. So, okay, if we put this adapter, well, it doesn't look too pretty, I can tell you that much. So let's see if we can put it underneath, but then again I'm wasting space and the rocket becomes too big. No adapters rather, but I'm just gonna put the coupler and immediately a fuel tank below it. I think that would be a better choice. So yeah. Okay, remove this one and put a regular fuel tank underneath, but we have to make sure that we put 3.75 meter decoupler, because we do want to decouple from this guy, that's for sure. And then let's put a big ass tank, not the biggest one that we can find, but rather a short and stubby one if possible. And some big engine that gives us 942 meters per second, which is too little. So I want something more. Okay, 1.7 is something I can work with, provided that I put in some additional boosters. I don't want the rocket to be longer, so I am thinking like 4 of liquid fuel boosters with Rhino engines, and followed by fuel lines connecting to the main stack. So that should be enough, I guess, right? So 4 of these guys, maybe put them a little bit higher. Okay, 4 engines, and all 5 should fire together, and then fuel lines feeding into the main tank from the boosters. Okay, onion staging, so just regular, when we detach all 4. I think that's fine. And the total is 4.2 thousand meters per second, which is perfect, which was something I was actually hoping for. Okay, and we have strutted it correctly, so well, I think this starts to look like our fuel launcher, and I'm really hoping that it will hold good. I'm just trying to see to put some stabilizers, because I want our center of lift way beyond the center of mass on this one. I want the rocket to be aerodynamically stable as it ascends through the atmosphere. Okay, having said that, let us build the refueling station at the VAB. First complete that one. And our Kerbin to Duna window is 43 days away. And we also have a dual lander RAM to take care of as well. So, yeah. Then we have the Karbonite scanner, and we are also gathering some science in the process when we are designing these ships, because why not? So, rather than finishing up the fuel transporter, let us first start rolling out things from the VAB, I guess, maybe. Or, we can just finish it. we have more than enough days to launch things. So, okay guys, this pretty much means that now we should be starting our launches, but first we have some extra science to spend, and I already made up my mind. I want to get extractors because these guys will help, are the final missing piece of the puzzle, being able to construct the viable solution, because we can scan for carbonite, we can convert carbonite, but we cannot mine it, and that's the main problem. So now we can also mine it. So let's us spend some precious upgrade points that would hopefully accelerate our building a little bit, at least in the space plane hangar. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. So, okay. Time to go for launches. So the first one, I want to be launching a carbonite scanner that would be going to Duna. That's the smallest rocket. It takes the least time to get out, roll out onto the launch pad. Only half an hour roughly, which is pretty respectable given the size and the distance it has to travel. Probably Jeb driving the vehicle to get it to the launch pad. Okay, and let's launch. Okay, so carbonite scanner Mark II Duna, nothing really special about it. Small rocket, simple ship, high frame rate for me, oh joy. So, showing it at slight time acceleration because it's a regular launch, nothing really special to see here. So yeah, so let's see that we get it to the orbit that we intend and then proceed with other launches as planned. So that's the idea anyway. Okay. So, yeah, ooh, and flippity flip flip flip. A little bit of flipping, well, it never hurted anybody, so who cares? Not really a big problem. It's just a very happy rocket to flip in the place to be basically launching to Duna. So, okay, and yeah, decoupling the fairings, extending the communotron, extending the solar panels, and making sure that we align with the maneuver node to circularize the orbit. Node is in 40 seconds. Node is in 40 seconds, so let's see if we manage to... Burning for the circularization. By the way, guys, this is now a joy to play. You probably don't feel it that much, except me complaining about the frame rate, but you mostly should see everything normal frame rate wise. Yeah, so this is one of the few that I'm enjoying that it's actually very, very nice time acceleration wise. Okay, so we have circularized our orbit, and I guess we have even 1089 delta V to spare, which is actually more than enough to be able to go and eject to Duna as well. So, tiny circularization just to make sure that everything is correct, and I also figured might as well open up the... I was thinking about opening up the communotron, but maybe not. Okay. Second order of business, Duna refueling station launch. Okay, thrust to max and blast off. By the way, you will notice when I'm using the KW rocketry, I first ignite the engines and then I release the launch clamps because KW rocketry takes a while to fire up. So they're not like instant. I mean, I know that there is a configuration for it, I just didn't enable it in the playstyle, so I'm just learning how to live with it, basically. Standard launch, nothing really major here, except that this is launching a big-ass ship. this is the 5-meter rocket, and we are pushing for the also a roughly 110 meter orbit. Maybe it will be 80, I don't know, depending on how well the rocket goes. And this is the first time I'm using procedural fairings, so yeah, I'm hoping that I don't make any big mistakes. If I make smaller ones, I can live with those, I guess. Okay, apoapsis is steadily climbing, 52, while I'm angling slightly downwards just to make sure that we try to have as efficient ascent as possible. 70 kilometers per hour. Apoapsis. See if we can get 80. Perfect. And trying to level up almost. 90. And 100. Opening up fairings and cutting the gas a little bit, I guess. Ooh. Yeah, but I forgot that it takes a while for the gas to stop. Anyway, I extended my communitron, so we are now fully remote tech operational. And yeah, so I'm just now making sure that we circularize our orbit. 150, it can be 150 by 150 for all I care. Let's open up the Gigantor so that we have ample of solar power, and then I guess we will be circularizing. Estimated burn 7 seconds, not a whole lot in terms of delta V because we were pretty efficient at our initial burn, way more efficient than I'm used to. But hey, I'm not complaining. So anyway, yeah. So just angling downwards slightly just to make sure that we point at the maneuver node. Okay, and we're 3 minutes away from the maneuver node, so we can actually accelerate a little bit more. This is a nice opportunity for a screenshot. 1. Perfect. And maybe even another one. Yeah, it's really beautiful view over Kerbin. So let us now burn. Not a big burn, I'm just making sure that I burn as efficiently and as quickly as possible. And bam. There we go. I'm pretty happy with the way it looks. So yeah, I think that one is good enough. Screenshot. Another screenshot. Beautiful. Okay. I guess that wraps up the refueling station. And now we have to recondition the launch pad. And we have one more order of business to attend to. And I'm thinking it will probably be taking care of RAM. So yeah. Let's just go to the tracking station and find our buddy Ram's ship. As you know, Ram is on escape trajectory out of Joule, and given that the patch connect is messed up, I just want to absolutely make sure that his transfer to or out of the Julian system is as accurate as possible. So that's basically what I'm thinking about. Okay, so yeah, let's see, Joule escape. Okay, and Okay, so let's see. We are just getting out and we have a carbon encounter. Great. That basically puts our and the motor has failed. So we have another quick fix that we need to do, and we will be rolling out the fuel launcher in the meanwhile. So let us just make sure that we fix that first. And I want to roll back the fuel transporter because I have forgotten a remote tech antenna. So delete on close. Come on, RAM, please go out and just fix it. So first, okay. This is the modification that I wanted to do regarding this guy. So yeah, that was basically my main concern. Okay guys, so as you can see, I'm gonna save edit and just continue on my merry way. Thank you very much for watching. This is GrunfWorks signing off.